Hi, I'm Chris from Airwindows, and hey, you can do this. Here's that meter of mine. See those lines? Watch this. Because this is Airwindows Air4. So I'm doing this in the middle of the afternoon. I've got a bunch of people doing like hedge trimming or something outside, but you know, things are tough all over. I am here to bring you plugins, and I make plugins for free for everyone, no exceptions. And here's the latest one. Air4 is a plugin that is in the succession of my plugins called Air, and the most recent one, Air3, started getting used in a bunch of my stuff because Air3 is the same high frequency band that goes into Console X. I think I probably have it in Stonefire. If not, you can have it as Air3. And we've got these controls here. The one that says Air is actually already engaged a little bit. I've got it turned up to 0.64. It's a boost. Ground is literally everything else. That means you can use this to cut out everything except for the super highs for some track or other that you want to just only be sparkle, or fiddle with the general level of things. If you wanted to boost and also high frequency boost, you can do that. If you wanted to boost and not boost the super highs, you can do that. The whole thing is based on Kalman filters, which is not a normal way of going about things. But it's what I started doing with some of my EQs, and it's gone into, again, Console X, which I'm working on a lot at the moment. I'm going to thank all of my Patreon people for helping me still be here and able to do this. I'm going to be doing my usual massive notes and fiddling around with controls and things because I'm making a control system where the 37 or so knobs in Console X will be built into a GUI that reshapes and reflows all of the knobs on the fly in order to be able to fit them into, for instance, if you wanted an incredibly tall, skinny window that was like a actual channel strip. It might not be easy to work with that because the knobs will be too small, but you should be able to do it if you want. And many other things besides. But that's not today. I'm working on that stuff. That's what you get for your Patreon, is no special benefits in any way, nothing to pay extra to get extra stuff of. Everybody gets what I'm able to finish when it comes out. And today, Air4 is what's come out, what you're seeing. And again, air and ground control, but this dark F and ratio are directly from a mastering plugin that I worked on because I wanted to start doing that peak music thing that I've started to do. I've made one post with it where I'm taking my classic records from the, one might even dare say, the good old days when music was good, except for it's not really like that because it's nothing about the people being any better at music. It's only about the sound that was attainable in those days, and you can do that in the box. And I'm going to help do exactly that. So this is out of the mastering thing. And again, you see over here, this is a little snippet of my meter plugin, which has also been going through updates. You're looking at the Slew section. It says Slew right here. And what you're looking at is peaks, which are either red, green, or blue. Blues are the ones that have more sonority to them. And the red peaks are the ones that are brighter. And on meter, if your red peaks are so loud that rather than just fitting in this area, they wrap around and go beyond, they wrap around and come back up from the bottom in red spikes. And people complain because they go, I want to use meter to make my stuff sound great, but it's all super dull, and I can't make the sounds work anymore because when meter likes it, it's way too dull. And then I crank up the highs until it's the way that I like it, and meter is covering everything with these red spikes. Here's how I fix that. We'll roll it back again. And let us take ratio here back down to 0. And let's start playing with a super hyped high end on this track, which is recent rock track that I've recorded with my instruments and stuff. And we're going to walk through both hyper boosting it and then remapping that hyper boosting into a dense area of the brightness spikes that still fits within what meter likes, and you'll be able to hear what that's like. That's what I've been doing with mastering, and you have it as of today. If you're watching this, you can download this and use it. I have a bunch of other things to work on, and including more work on those peak posts before I put out the actual mastering plugin. But you've already got Zoom, and that's also in the mastering plugin. So the idea is you should get all of the things that are important about that as individual plugins, and then if you want to use those, then go ahead and do it. Anywho, here is the track, and we're going to boost more until it's just lots of those red spikes, and then I'm going to show you what to do with them that's good. Let's start adding highs. Let's say we like that. Now, watch this. That's way too bright. You can see how much it's way too bright. But then if I set ratio with dark F at the default setting, here's what we've done. We've put in this dark F control. That's part of what originally was Slew. And in fact, the way I'm using it, you'd be able to do the same thing with my plugin Slew. Slew turns out to be the perfect clamp for slew energy. When you clamp it down way, way more, it starts sounding like grungy old school tube distortion. But when you apply it like this, it is neatly excising all of the super highs, even if they go beyond this point. So what you see is it looks as if it's just cleanly removing that stuff. But wait, there's more. I'm going to do something involving turning down this dark F, which is dark frequency, is why I called it that. And then you'll see what's happening to this. You're not actually seeing all the peaks anymore because I clipped them, or I saturated them using Slew between the top of the meter and the bleed through. There's actually a solid line as if like it was a clipping line. And you can't see it because it's kind of hidden between the wraparound here. So now I'm going to start over. We're going to firstly get this rolling, and then quickly I'm going to try to zip over and turn the meter back on again. Watch this. Let's take it farther. Actually, let me reset it. I don't have enough of that showing on the screen right now. Watch that. And then what I'm going to do is shut it off and explain what you're seeing. Because what you're seeing is now, it's super crazy hyper boosted. I lowered dark F until the point where it's cutting it off is visible. it's not hidden behind that line anymore. You can see how much it's doing. In fact, I lowered it so that even more is getting applied to this. And it's taken away the nasty extra brightness, which I'm still adding using Air. But now it sounds extremely dark. The final piece of the puzzle for what I do using this tool is this. It's the ratio control. That's present in the mastering thing that I made for myself. And it's present in Air4 and is key to, if you're working with this using like meter in order to do a mastering style thing. If you're not, you can have it at full ratio and just bring it in until it is smoothed off the ultra highs you've added. Or you can leave it at the default setting, in which case it will automatically, if ratio is at 1, stop any of those red spikes without actually being particularly audible in doing it. It acts like an acceleration limiter. It's doing a really good job at taming nasty digital highs, and that should also be audible. But I'm going to be doing something with this that's in line with how I use my mastering plugin with meter, and I'm going to show you exactly how it's done. So what we need to do is start working with ratio. Because when I manipulate ratio, what's going to happen is, rather than this being a solid line, it's going to let the variation of what's left in there come back in. And if I turn it all the way off, it will come back in to the point where it just wraps right around to become those red spikes again. And if I have the ratio at 1, it does this. There's no flexibility in there. But if I have the ratio at something that is neither completely off or completely on, we're scaling down all of those high frequency clips, the saturation that is formerly making into a solid line. So this is me trying to work with the meter again. I will blank this off, and then I have to turn it on and play the music, and then try to fiddle with the ratio as rapidly as possible. I could shrink the window until it fits on my screen better, but then my other labeling gets in the way. So instead, what I'd like to do is just fiddle with it. I'll hit the reset button as needed. Here we go. Music. Meter. Ratio. And now we already have spikes. And now we have all the spikes in the world. And we have nothing. And we try to dial in. Let's reset that. So this is kind of the stunt. Let's see what it's doing. Now that I've done that, I have a massive high frequency boost. Uncontrolled, that's just painful to listen to. It's way too many highs. But I have included this dark frequency and ratio to put a sort of knee. It's like a compression curve with a knee on it. It'll go up to a point, and then all of a sudden the curve is much more shallow. And that's what's happening here. I have a amount of high frequency boost that is way more than I actually need. And that's also going to be bringing up subtler high frequencies as well, because it's overall high frequency boost. Then I have this very low set dark frequency in there that makes the corner be like right here. And then I use the ratio control so that everything that it's doing is scaled back. So now we have this dense area. And you know, something else I can do is I could lower this corner frequency until I still have the same highs that I had before, but they're all scaled down. That's going to lower the corner frequency of this brightness thing down to where it's not even really treble anymore, like right down into the mid-range. It's going to be a really obvious sound, but it'll be a sort of dense, saturated kind of sound in the mid-range and highs. And let's hear what that's like. I'll set it playing again, turn on the meter, remember to keep hitting the reset button so that you can still see what it's doing. And let's go. Dark F now. Now reset. And that's super overboosted, but it's still sort of weirdly dark. Remember, the raw sound is just this. But we've added this much highs and then made it almost be normal again. So now, what shall we do? How about we unboost the highs a little bit? Because that's clearly too much. Then, now that we've unboosted the highs, let's alter the ratio some more. And raise this frequency up. Say to here. Now reset. Now what we've done here is kind of interesting. What we've done here is we have the air boost, but it's not as big of an air boost. We've got the dark frequency, which is a high frequency cut, and it's set super duper low. It's like low mid-range. Everything that we're doing has a massive cut on it, and then the ratio is combining that brick wall of a high frequency cut with the raw signal. And what that does is it still lets there be loud peaks, but they're all scaled back. And what that means is we went from this sound to this sound. Without lots of extra high frequencies getting on the meter and looking really unreasonable and kind of being the ice pick in the ear sound that we often try to get away from. That is me talking you through trying to work with Air4, which is a big chunk of what I find useful in the mastering plugin I've been working on. And again, Airwindows plugins and everything that I come up with are free. No exceptions. That's because I'm supported by Patreon. And the Patreon is composed of people who have, enough resources, enough privilege, you might say, enough of whatever it is that you need, that you're able to keep me working, doing this kind of stuff that is available to all. I really appreciate that there's enough people there able to help me do that. Whether there is or not, I'm going to still keep doing it. I will keep doing it as long as I'm alive and able to have a roof over my head and feed myself. And with the work that I do, even if I didn't have that, if I dragged my laptop along, or, had a Raspberry Pi, because I developed this stuff for Raspberry Pi, long as I have anything I can use, I would be able to use the tools that I'm making. Even if stuff went really sideways for me, I would still have some tools to work with. And that's part of why I do it. You never know what's going to happen in the world. Like, I enjoy deeply having my little wood stove. If it's winter, I don't have to freeze. I can be warm. I'm really grateful for that. I'm really grateful for the Patreon people that help me still be able to do that. I'm going to share what I have as much as I can, as long as I can, and for all the whatever time it is that I have to be doing that. I'd love to do even more well, but we'll see. And Air4 is the continuation of me continuing to be able to do this for years now. I've been working on all of this stuff for years. I'm an old. I'll keep doing it. And as I get my stuff more together, I might even be able to get back into the music making. There was a time when I was doing a lot more in terms of making music on the internet that people could tune into my channel and watch me like jamming away with stuff for hours on end. Any number of things I could do. But building these tools is really important because that helps me get the sound I need to get, which didn't used to be very possible with digital audio workstations and like your laptop production kind of thing. You used to always have to sound a certain way, and that's not the case anymore. So with that, I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.